Hello, everybody, and welcome back to RollPlay Live. Nebula Jazz going into the penultimate hour, I love that word, of the show.
Yeah.
So everybody's kind of scattered out, right? Like you're floating in space.
Well, I'm with Dave.
You're with Dave. Yeah, so you and Dave, let's start there. Let's start on the
Okay.
Electron ship. So you're on your way towards it, right? The big manta ray shape, kind of graceful ship floating. There's a whole bunch of smaller ones. It's very much like a school of sea animals, right? Like there's like kind of these whale-shaped like cargo ships and then the smaller ones, but they brought a whole bunch of them here, and you're flying up towards the main one. And so Dave is sitting in the passenger seat next to you, and
He's still pointing out all the ships.
he's eating a bucket of chicken for some reason now. He's
Where
just taking
Where does this all go?
taking some bites of chicken, and
Where does
and
this
he
all go?
Just I don't know. He's a bottomless
That's
void.
his superpower.
So he says to you, so he's like, what's the plan?
We're gonna go visit an old friend.
And he looks up. He's like, oh, cool. Takes a bite of the chicken. He's like, why?
Because I believe that they know where everybody else went.
Oh, you want to find your bros.
I mean, aren't they your bros too? I heard you and Quinn have a heart-to-heart.
And he like shrugs and he's like, I'm like a horse with no name in the desert, man.
What? I don't even know what that means.
Think about it.
I did.
He's like, it's okay. You'll understand when the time comes.
I mean, I heard they had hoagies and a whole bunch of stuff that we can have there.
he's like you don't have to bribe me. I go where the wind blows, man. It's cool. And he like shrugs. And he's just like, yeah, we can just go see these guys. I don't care.
Yeah, let's go. I mean, maybe you can ask some questions. I can ask some questions, and we can find our friends or my friends, I guess.
So the car, we get an exterior shot. The car kind of like stops as a beam of blue light goes over it and starts to lift it up into the inside of this sort of space whale kind of ship, and yeah, and I think that we cut to these ships are not really designed to have like people moving around in them, but they can reform, right, like the planet to make space. So you're in this like perfectly pristine, like brushed steel chamber with a table hovering in the middle, some little floaty chairs, and we see Dave, and he's like looking under the chair and like waving his arm, like, have you seen this thing? Like, check this out. And you're there. What do we see? Aurora's like, what do you look like here? Because you're in the ship. You're with Dave. Ostensibly, you've been brought here, and then your grandpa will come see you. You haven't seen him in a while.
I think she's not impressed, obviously, but she's also just quiet, just like stone cold look, and just quiet, just waiting for him to come in.
Okay.
And while Dave is doing his thing, she's still just like, don't care.
Okay. So there's a gentle series of notes that play to alert you that someone is outside the door, and then the door like slides open, and you see your grandpa. He's wearing his sweater, and he just looks like a real person.
Yeah.
And he comes in, and Dave like points at him, but doesn't say anything, and Saber says, "Hello, David." And Dave's like, "Up high, Gramps," and your grandpa's like. Gives him the high five. He's like, yeah. And then Dave sits down, and he looks at you, and he says, Aurora.
I guess you won. You got me back. I'm here.
He shakes his head. It's not what I wanted, Aurora, to win. We weren't trying to win. Not with you. We just want you to live up to your potential.
Well, lying to me didn't help. You could have prepared me for this a lot sooner.
Sometimes the truth hurts, Aurora. What were we to tell you? That poor child, that her home planet had been destroyed?
By people that you were helping. People that are right outside right now. Killing.
Sometimes, Aurora, when your enemies are more powerful than you, you have no choice but to help them. Or to seem to. We had a plan. There were just unforeseen circumstances.
Well, what's your plan now?
We're calculating that.
Well, you should calculate faster.
Aurora, Alexandron is literally the most powerful computer ever created. Nothing can calculate faster than we can.
Well, I have a plan. Let's get my friends back. You know where the scepter went. I'm sure you had tabs on the little green guy and the shark, and it has to be with them because they were the only ones in the room.
He nods and he says, "Yes, we're tracking some very interesting things happening with the scepter." And we cut to one of the parts of the city. We cut to the planet, and of course there's like screaming and chaos, and we see a bunch of masked people like throw a buggy through a window and run and start looting things, and there's like fire burning and stuff. And we cut over to like a roadway that's been destroyed, or there's a big rent in it, and it sort of dips down into a deep impression. Something has like hit here and caused a crater.
Yeah.
And we see somebody climb out of the crater, and they're like, "Oh God, no!" And they climb out, and we can see they have like green goo all over them, and they're slowly like dissolving. And they climb out and like fall on the ground, and their body just kind of like turns into goo and like slides down back into the crater. And we pan slowly over the crater, and we can see down at the bottom there's this glowing green throbbing mass. And slowly, everything around it is being turned into more goo. The thing right now is about the size of like a bus, but is growing in size as it eats more.
Is this these radical slimes?
It eats more and more of the city.
Oh, it's her.
And so bits and pieces are being absorbed, and this ball of slime is getting bigger and bigger. And somewhere inside its cloudy, sort of strewn mass, we can see the throbbing of the light as the scepter is causing Eugene to grow out of control and to consume everything around him. Yeah. So. And so we see in this scene, you can see a little silver orb kind of like flip over the scene and like look at it from a couple of different angles. And then we fade back. We do that pull out where it kind of gets grainy, and then you can see it in the hologram on the table. And Dave is looking at it like, dude.
Is that Jello?
Yeah.
Well, how are we going to stop that? It's going to consume the whole planet.
And Saber nods and he says, the planet's doomed either way.
Yeah, well, what if he grows bigger than the planet?
He kind of doesn't like compute like what if, yes.
What if he just keeps growing?
Well,
We got to stop it.
Eventually your friend won't have anything left to consume.
I hope not. So we're just going to leave a giant out of control slime in the middle.
For the time being, your friend Eugene is containing the energy of the scepter. It's the safest place for it now.
Okay, well, what about the other two?
What about them?
My other two companions. That's the one thing you owe me for all the lies and not telling me what was going on. You need to help me get my friends back.
We've come to understand how important friends are to your
Listen,
kind.
just because you don't understand, just because you don't understand me, doesn't mean you shouldn't help.
See, if they'd only given the Earth a little while longer, they would understand the true impact of friends.
The power of friendship.
Yeah. So he says, we have adapted our programming. We will listen to you. We can help you find your friends. And he brings up the sort of tactical map of the battle, and he says, but we have to do it quickly. Once the Duke is finished cleaning up this pirate mess, he's likely to come for us. I'd like us not to be here by then.
Great.
Whenever
he brings up a
he
ship,
gestures around and he says we'll wait until we have no other option but to leave, and until then you have access to the resources of the fleet.
is there when he brings up the battle, can I see where like Slipknot ship at all?
I mean, you're not really familiar with Alaxatronian tactical displays, but you can get an idea of what's what after a little while.
So after starting it, I can be like,
yeah, you can tell the little like gold things are the Mingasi drones. You can tell which ships are the Mingasi and which ones are yours. But yeah, the pirate ships are just kind of like blinking out. And there's a big pile of burning rubble that was the head. It's all separated out now and is like blowing up. And you can see DeBarge firing all of its cannons into the debris and like ignoring the ships around it. And it's taking a bunch of hits, like it's on fire, but it's focus firing on this debris so it doesn't go crash into the planet.
yeah. Well, I guess I'm just gonna ask him, like, you need to send a ship. Go find Quinn. He was on the giant head. He was on there. He has to be around there. You have to go find him, and then we can leave. We just gotta leave after that. So
Sucks. So
we have no idea where you are. and we know where you could be
I
swallowed
still
by a
like you,
Eugene.
Rex.
Listen, for all the times you've
Grandma's
shot
like,
me.
what about your other friend? Oh, all right, never mind.
After all
I
the
won't
time,
push it.
Eugene probably ate him.
Yeah.
Anyway, where's
Yeah.
Quinn?
He's become one with Eugene, the mighty Eugene Blob.
they're best
so-
friends now.
Okay. So,
Truly.
yeah, the last time you saw you were just like,
I'm
you tried to,
floating
you
through
got ripped
space.
off floating
Yeah,
into
I'm
space. Okay.
Flying through space,
All
like
right, sure.
gravity style, just like.
Okay. All right. So unless you have somewhere you would like to end up, I think it's just a question of like they think you're a corpse, and they'll eventually one of the Lexitronian drone ships will come in and fly and pick you up.
Yeah, I can't. There's no place I want to end up because I can't end up anywhere.
It's true. Okay.
I don't have a
So it'll take some time. So they'll do that.
Okay.
So in the meantime, we cut over to Thuja and Adina, and so you're in the room. Last time we saw you, and Adina is at the door. We hear the hiss, and we get the change in light, and she's standing there with her like blanket on her shoulders, and she sees you looking like kind of sad, and she says, Rex, what's wrong?
When did you get sick?
She says, not long ago, the pulse of light.
Right. Did you know about your brother?
She kind of raised an eyebrow. What about him?
Until recently, the pulse of light, he kind of hung out.
She's kind of looks at you like my brother's been dead for some time.
He was a pain in my ass.
What do you mean?
I mean,
This conversation.
after I ate him,
Oh boy. Oh boy.
he was kind of with me.
Oh boy.
She kind of looks at you. She's like, "Wait, you did what?"
Oh,
Sit down.
She does.
We were set up for the murder of your brother. In order to escape, I ate his body before we got caught.
She laughs, and
I'm serious.
she's like, I'm sure you are. I find it funny is all. I mean, he was dead. It doesn't matter. It's just a body.
Right. But we didn't want to get caught
Of course, and
framed for murder.
you're a sharkanoid, and that's what you do.
It's not. Don't discriminate. I was helping
Puts her
my
hands
crew.
up. Of course, I understand.
Anyway, listen. After I ate him, his consciousness appeared. Only I could see it. And we conversed.
She nods.
And now he's gone.
She says my Mingasi theology is a little rusty, but I suppose that's possible.
So whatever is making you sick, got rid of him too.
She nods.
So I don't know really. It's just not just you. That's what I'm trying to say.
She looks at you and she says, if that's the case, then I wonder what's happening with the rest of the Mingasi. And we cut to the ship, and we see the Duke, and he's in his quarters. He's got his like military uniform on. He's taking his cape off and like hanging it up. He's looking out the window at the battle. He's seeing all this, like his fighters like take care of the enemy, and he looks in the mirror and he looks for a moment like tired, right? Because he's alone. He kind of lets his like divine like emperor thing like lapse a little, and he pulls his collar down, and we can see he's got these like black like veins growing like up under his skin, up his neck, and he scowls, and he picks up an injector and like injects something into himself and throws it in the trash, and you can see there's like a bunch of them in this like ridiculously baroque like clawfoot garbage can next to his bed, and he goes and he sits down and he just shakes his head and like scowls. And we cut back to the conversation, and she says, she says, this happened because of the scepter.
Yeah.
She nods.
We got to try and get in contact with Aurora.
Well, so which first, Eugene and the scepter?
Well, I don't know where she is.
And I think you hear Thuja from the other side, from like over the comms. She's like, "We're here, and it's fucked up." And she looks at you like, well, let's go take a look.
Hold that thought.
Yeah. So the two of you get up and you go up into the
Right.
into the cockpit. And yeah, as Thuja promised, it's pretty fucked up. You see the crater, and by now Eugene is like as big as a football field. And there's like a building. You watch a building tip over and fall into him, and just get like sucked in and absorbed. And Eugene grows further as this happens. And Thuja looks down at the Eugene blob and looks at you and she's like, "You sure know how to pick them." And
Wait, that's...
and
He doesn't quite get it at
right,
first.
and you can see we get this like Akira moment of like the little slime and its energy signature, and then the bigger slime and its energy signature, and they like sync up perfectly and kind of like rotate around. And Thuja nods and she's like, "That's your little slime friend down there."
He just whistles.
Okay.
He's like, anyone else got any ideas?
So when you say that, we cut to Eugene. So Eugene, you, I don't think, again, it's hard to do point of view for you because you don't sense the world the same way everyone else does.
Yeah.
So all around you are sources of energy, which you are slowly absorbing in the same way a person might eat food, right? Like you can feel yourself getting stronger, you feel better every moment as you consume this like kind of universal energy that's around you. Somewhere deep inside you, you feel a warmth, like a warm glow, and somewhere like massively distant, you hear the faint notes. It's like in the game we would translate it into human impression as like a woman's voice singing softly, like a lullaby or something. And you hear this song for the first time through the vast distance of the cosmos. You haven't heard the song in a very long time. And you can hear, yeah, exactly. You can hear for the first time in ages the sound of Mother Slime calling out to you,
Right.
singing in her wordless ululations.
I feel like, at least this is the way that I am perceiving this too, is almost like fully embracing this scepter has caused Eugene to, as he grows bigger and his brain can't like quite keep up with it, he's just pared down to his basest instinct, which is greed, right?
Yeah.
And he just wants like more and more
Right.
and more and more and more,
Totally.
right?
Yeah. And not the greed of like material goods and wealth, but the greed of growth, greed of food, right? And like just like absorbing shit. And somewhere inside you, you're doing something that most slimes. So the thing about slimes, right? We talked about this before. Is like the mother ejects the slime into the universe, and they land and they like absorb other stuff, reunite, and then go back to the slime to like reincorporate. But you're creating new mass, like new slime yourself out of other things, right? Like you're metastasizing yourself into a larger, bigger slime, and that's like. There are slimes who would worship you as a god for this behavior, right? Because you're capable of growing without mother.
There are slimes on this planet.
No, they were all wiped
No, they
out.
were all wiped out by the
Oh, they
Imperium.
were?
The
Oh,
Imperium
nice.
showed up
Nice.
and were like, you were harboring criminals and just fucking blasted them all. Yeah. But so you're absorbing the material of this planet, all the people and the buildings and the energy. Like you can feel the molten core of the planet under you, and your tentacles are screwing down into the world and cracking it apart, trying to get at that heat. And it's going to take some time, but it feels pretty good. You got this whole like atavistic like consumer blob thing going on.
Totally.
Yeah.
Handsome slime boy.
Super handsome though.
Super
The handsomest.
Very big,
Yeah.
handsome slime boy.
So you're like, any ideas? And we see that. We get a point of view from Eugene, and then we cut back to a medical bay on the one of the Galaxy or one of the Electronian ships, and there's a big kind of overhead light over a metal. It's very like 90s X-Files alien autopsy scene where you can't really see anything else, but there's a big lizard man lying kind of half frozen on the table, and a medical bot has like scissored your clothes off, so you're just like a big naked lizard man. And Dave, I think Dave is standing there like watching, and he's just like, and he like pulls out a handkerchief and like drapes it over your crotch, like, like just for modesty.
There's nothing.
And every
there,
time the
though.
robot-
I know there's not exactly
That's not
just-
how it works.
No, but
Dave, dummy.
Yeah, but still, every time the robot takes it off, he puts it back
Yeah,
on.
right. Yeah, the robot keeps being like, meh, and like pulling it off, and he's just like, "Come on, man, give him some gravity here." So, and so there's one of the little medical drones like flies over and like flashes a series of pulses into one of your eyes, and then you wake up. What do you do when you wake up? Like you're disoriented and like.
Yeah, Quinn panics and looks around and notices he's in an Electronian ship and like freaks
Yeah.
and like grabs the little droid and like crushes it.
Totally. Break it.
Yeah.
All the little pieces tumble to the ground and get reformed into the floor.
And
Dave puts the handkerchief back as he moves.
Yeah, I looked at Dave and I'm like, where are we? What's going on?
He's like, "Your stuff was out, man."
What?
And he just looks down at the clock. He's like, "Nothing, dude. I'm glad you're okay." And he like puts his arms around you and gives you a big hug.
Like,
It's like only a top half hug.
Yeah, totally. He just kind of leans away.
Quinn stands up and sort of looks around for an exit.
Okay.
He's like, "What are we doing here? What's going on?"
Yeah, you're just like in a featureless silver cube with no doors or windows, and you see Aurora there. Aurora, what do you when we pan over to you and we see you through Rex? What do you look like?
I'm sort of just like leaning against the wall with my arms folded, and I'm like watching Dave, and I think I just like zoned out while I was watching him just replace the handkerchief over and over, and I'm just like, oh my god. And then when Quinn wakes up, I just
so
wait.
it's like you're irritated with him, not a like you just can't fight this feeling anymore, kind of like staring at him.
Yeah.
Okay, just being clear.
Yeah.
You realize that Dave's your true love.
Yeah, totally.
No, I'm
I think
staring at
so.
him because I'm like, what a doofus, and I'm like, that's kind of cute. He's
Yeah.
kind of cute. You gave me a hamburger.
He did give me a hamburger.
He did give me a hamburger.
That was
He
like
gave
a
up.
first date.
He gave up his hamburger for me.
It's true.
So, and then you wake up. I'm like, yeah. Welcome back to the land of the living. You are alive. We found you in space. So I look at you and I say that.
What are we doing? Why are we here?
And so Dave's like, "Chill, bro. Here's how it is. Eugene got the stick and then landed on the planet and now is eating everything and getting all huge and shit. I don't know where Rex is. He's probably boning some hot chick, though, so good for him. Aurora and Gramps had a real nice conversation. Everybody's fine. We're friends with the robots now, so don't kill anybody, all right? They're still pissed at you about the library thing, but I didn't tell them. They just think we're going to forget about it. They got like a bad memory about that, so everything's going to be fine. You just got
And you just see me like staring, like,
The closer you get, the more the blue reflects off your face, and it's real creepy. It became very awkward.
There's probably blue lights in the
Yeah.
sick bay, so
Yeah.
it's like
the
accurate.
Electrotronians love blue lights. So, because blue's Aurora's favorite color.
Yeah, that's true.
Quinn pushes him back, and he's like, "What about the pirates? What's happening?"
Oh, they're dead. They're dying. They're not dead yet.
And
But
he's like, "What little Miss Insensitive over here is trying to say is that the Mingasi were real pissed about, because they're pirates. The cops don't like pirates. So there's like these guys, there's a battle. I think some of them got away, though."
And Quinn looks to Aurora and is like, "What is your grandfather doing? Were we just sitting here?
well, actually, we spent a long time looking for you specifically, and we
Why?
found
Why would you do that?"
you want us to take on the Mingasi because they're about to focus on us too. And I think we should just get out of here maybe and let Eugene take care of the scepter for now.
Are the Electronians allies with the Mingasi?
Dude, they're like Switzerland, man.
I don't even know what that is.
He's just like, "Don't worry about it. They don't want to get in the fight because the Mingasi will beat them."
Like, Quinn loses his shit. And like, I want to rip open the door to this room.
Wait. But I like step back. I'm like, I mean, if you want to do that, I could just. And then as he's like going to rip it open, I like press a button and it just opens.
Yeah, and so like a door forms where you like
Yeah.
tumble forward and
Rip the frame.
and you're like looking around.
He still
Yeah.
like punches it.
The
in
land
my
below you like that. Rip the frame.
Quinn sort of stumbles through and like looks back at them very angrily, and then like, I'm not. What is worse than a march? An angry, a trounce,
A stomp.
a stomp.
Stomp.
You're
Yeah.
like that little parrot, flappy feet. You're all
Oh
mad.
yeah, I'm
And-
gonna go try and find wherever the hell the bridge to the ship is,
Okay.
And
because
then-
like this is unacceptable because there are people dying for this thing, the thing that they created.
look at Dave and I'm like, nice going.
Dave's
You know,
like,
I might be insensitive, but what you just said pissed him off.
life's pissing him off, man, not me.
Eat another burger. I'll be back. And I just like walk out.
He just like turns around, takes a bite out of his burger. You don't know me. All right, so you chase off after Quinn.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, so here's the thing about the ship is that you will never get anywhere they don't want you to get. There is no bridge until they form one so that you have a place to have a meeting with them. Like the
Quinn
whole
doesn't know that.
Yeah,
Quinn
no,
is
Quinn doesn't know that
tearing
exactly.
through
So basically,
everything.
you're just like storming along this path that will never end. They're just gonna like loop you around the ship.
But
unless
that's
Aurora
as
wants to,
I'm
yeah.
just waiting. I'm not saying anything yet because he's so pissed, and I'm like, I'm not gonna say it yet. I'm not gonna say it. I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna wait, and I just keep following him, like just following behind him.
Waiting for him to calm down.
Yeah, just waiting for him to calm down, or at least go, what's going on?
Yeah, Quinn eventually turns and punches one of the walls, and he's like, "Where is the damn bridge?"
Yeah, so you punch the wall and it like ripples like water.
And I go, so you remember being on the planet and how things weren't formed until, you remember that? You remember that where things were forming in front of you? I remember that. That's what the ship is, and that's what you're doing.
Quinn just like sighs, just like, "Damn Alexatronians."
Let's go back to the room with Dave, and if you calm down, I'll get Grandpa to come in.
No, where's Grandpa?
If you calm down, I'll get Grandpa to come in.
Oh, I'm calm.
I'm so
Something about that. I'm just not convinced that you're calm.
Quinn slams his fist like right here, close to her face.
Right.
He's like, "Where
On
is
the wall.
Grandpa?"
You really shouldn't do that. You really shouldn't do that. And I just turn around and I start walking back to where Dave is. I just turn around and start walking back. So you could choose to follow or not. And as I do, I get on my little Pip-Boy and I start like contacting Grandpa. So
Now remember, I mean, you don't have to murder her. Shut up,
Who
you.
said that?
You
Who said
could-
that?
Anyone can compel anybody to do anything, right? Some of you have fate points. Aurora has no fate points.
what are you saying?
So if there's an aspect that you want to, like, you can reach out to get Aurora to change your mind.
Oh, here.
You can offer her a fate point for it.
Don't listen to him and waste that fate point, though, because she just called Grandpa.
I'm aware. I'm just trying to see what she has. Also, she still has that.
I
She's
can.
still emotional.
I can use that one. But you can compel it as well. Yeah, if you want her emotions to get the better of her.
No, not right now.
Stop crying.
Yeah.
You should feel bad.
Well, no, but I mean, what the compel here would be that if Jessie gave it to Pokket, it might be that she's actually much more upset than she lets on, right? That we see her face and Quinn can't see it, and she's like got tears.
But right
in her
now
eyes
I'm
and
still
stuff.
in like I'm a robot mode.
exactly.
'Cause especially now that I'm in front of Grandpa again.
Yeah, you're
And
back.
I'm like, oh,
you're-
I gotta try harder.
You know what? For the sake of the story,
That's
I'm
what
totally doing
That's
that.
what compels her for. Yeah. Okay.
What is the compel?
So yeah, what are you compelling her to do? What is the action
that
you
you
want
are
Pokket to
actually
have her take?
the big girls don't cry, that you are actually still very much messed up, and all of this, like, I'm tough and I'm gonna be like, Quinn, if you want to know, you got to come with me. Like, all that's just bravado, and you're a mess, and everything that's happened today has been too much. Like, it's all overwhelming for you.
What do you want
And-
to achieve out of this?
What I'd like to achieve is that
Not just break down right there?
Well, yeah, but so what I'm seeing here is that like Aurora, if you show emotion, then Quinn has something in common with you, right? Like, you're all sad, he's all angry.
you.
Quinn understands feelings, and you're this person who struggled with him his whole life. He's basically like, right, he's feelings Jesus. So if you show the emotion, right, the compel here is that, like, you break down, and it doesn't have to be like, you like wail and fall on your knees, but like maybe you stop and we see a close up of your face, like tears streaming down your face. Then that gives him an opportunity to like sense that you have a feeling and be like, hey, come on.
I think I get frustrated, especially when he punches near me, and I think it just reminds me of Jack, like
Mhm.
actually
Right.
punching me
Totally.
twice,
Yeah.
and then I'm like, "Ugh, I can't, and I just like turn around in frustration, but then I just like my eyes just well up just
Yeah.
immediately, and I'm just like, it's not fair. You can't do this to me. You can't do this. It's not fair. I can't do that.
You do the Rupert fist.
Yeah,
That's all
yeah.
That's all he
So
sees.
so you see it. Yeah, she's getting
Like this
upset.
tiny human next to you, just like, I can't do this. I can't. I just want to go home, and I can't
Yeah.
go home.
Quinn gives her like the most un-Quinn-like hug, where he's not like I'm crushing
Just
you now.
gentle, like,
yeah, like a very
come here,
gentle
dummy.
hug.
Not like earlier.
Yeah. Not a normal Quinn hug.
Yeah.
But like a very gentle, like it'll be okay kind of thing, and like I'm sorry, but all said in the form of an emotional hug.
Yeah. The sigh. Well, the thing is, a lot of your emotions are like smells too.
Right,
So like,
right.
Yeah.
what is it's gonna be okay smell like?
It's gonna be okay. Smells like warm snickerdoodles.
Oh, that's
It is gonna be okay. Okay.
Like fresh baked cookies.
Okay. Cool.
Ooh, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm okay with that.
Okay. There's our next role play merch. We're gonna make it smells like snickerdoodle perfume and call it It's Gonna Be Okay.
It's gonna be okay.
All right. So there's this warm bakery scented moment where you feel Quinn wrap his arms around you, and you can feel this sudden you have not got any programming for dealing with feelings, and so you're just
Yeah.
kind of overwhelmed. And we hear a hissing sound as one of the a portal opens in the wall, and Dave sticks his head out and he's like, "Somebody making cookies?"
Oh God.
And then he sees you guys hugging. He's like, "Oh yeah!" And comes over and tries to get himself in the hug,
Group hug.
Quinn,
And then-
Quinn hug,
My
puts an arm
friends.
around and pulls him in.
Yeah.
But as he does that, I'm just like, oh man, you're ruining the smell, because he just smells like hamburger and grease.
And so there's a brief moment where you hug the humans, and Dave is like, "I'm so glad you're okay, bro. And hey, don't cry. It's gonna be okay, 'cause of cookies." And he looks around and he's like, "But we can't just stand around here. We gotta do something. I don't know what. I have not thought that far ahead, but I'm ready to go."
As he says that, I grab Quinn's hand and I start leading him to the room that I'm trying to lead him to the room that
so
we were in.
the room that you
Where
needed to
where we
be
had
in
the
forms,
screen.
the meeting room, just
Yeah.
forms ahead of you, and the door opens.
Yeah.
Saber's already got a presence in there. He's got a hologram there.
Yeah.
And so you walk in, and you and Grandpa kind of eyeball each other across the room.
I hate Grandpa so much.
But I try to calm him, just show him the planet. Just show him the planet real quick before anyone says anything,
so-
please.
Yeah, so he just gives you kind of a neutral look. He's just kind of regarding you.
But he should be happy Quinn kept his secret.
Yeah, Quinn looks at him and he's like, "Why aren't you helping? What are you? You're just sitting here?"
He comes over to you, and he says, "I asked you to make me a promise once, Quinn." And he shakes his head and he looks kind of regretful, and he says, "I should not have asked you that. It was a mistake for us both to lie to her. We've been thinking on this for some time. We would like to take action against the Mingasi. We've wanted to for generations. They're dangerous. A destructive force this universe has not seen in some time." And he looks at you and he says, "We've already lost so much, but they're very strong. We think that there is a way to defeat them." And he looks back at you again and he says, "But the cost is going to be high."
Not Dave.
Did you say
Wow.
Dave,
Wow.
Dave's just got a French fry in his mouth. What about me? What's up? I'm good. I'm fine. Those chicken fries, those are great.
They're chicken fries.
Mozzarella sticks. And so he says, I think he says that. He's like, the cost is going to be high. But first, Aurora wanted me to show you something. And he brings up the thing. And now, a big part of the planet is, being consumed and turning green. And he says, your friend Eugene has been changed by the power of the scepter.
Quinn gives Eugene Scepter Blob a quick glance, and then immediately turns back, and he's like, "This was all you from the beginning. You're the ones who handed it over. You're the ones who helped all this happen. You have to do something. This is on you."
He sighs and he says, "What you're witnessing is the unraveling of a plan we've been working on for tens of thousands of years. he looks and he says, "You cannot begin to understand our disappointment in how badly things have been. Nothing you can say is going to make us more frustrated than we already are. We understand your feelings, Quinn. We want to make it right. How can we help you?"
Right now, the entire Mangasi fleet is focused on a bunch of pirates. They're outnumbered, they're outgunned, but they're not focused on you. They think you're weak, they think you'll bow down to them. Now is the time.
So you want to convince him to attack the Mangasi, to like drag out the
Hell.
battle.
Yes.
All right.
Because there's nothing we can do about Eugene yet. Because Eugene wants, I imagine, in my mind, if Eugene is just sucking up everything, shooting at Eugene wouldn't work because you just suck up the energy. Like, there's nothing we can do on this ship to stop Eugene. But we can stop the Mangasi, who are a bunch of dickwads who want Eugene in the end.
I mean, you can't stop them. You can slow them down. You can make a big
Great.
speed bump, but
Let's do that.
This
Okay.
would be the perfect time for Aurora's comms device to start
Yeah, okay.
vibrating. Yeah.
all right. Yeah. So Aurora, you get a communication of
I'm
some
like,
sort.
I like jump, and I'm like, wait. What the-
A
What is
tinny,
that?
A tinny sound of girls just want to have fun
Yeah.
starts playing.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, at first when it starts vibrating, I'm like, Dave, stop it. And then it starts singing, and I'm like, oh, right, okay.
What was Dave doing?
No, it's
just her
vibrating.
natural
Like, I
response.
thought
Shut
he
up,
was like
Dave.
next to me going like that.
Shut up, Dave.
Oh,
He wasn't vibrant. Wow.
Yeah, Dave,
Hands are vibrating.
Dave is still. Dave is just.
Whoa, Dave.
We're not on the Jacker Hacker ship anymore. Thank you.
Dave is just standing there staring at himself, trying to vibrate.
He's like, whoa.
I thought he was shaking me.
So yeah, so you take out your comms device.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
And I yes.
Kid?
Oh, you're alive? You didn't. Oh, we thought you maybe were dead.
Yeah, listen, I need your help. Where are you?
On a ship, on the Grandpa ship.
Perfect. Send me the coordinates.
I like look at Grandpa and I'm like,
yeah, and it just the information just flows through your device.
there you go. It just automatically flew.
Yeah.
Rex just hangs up.
Okay. They're on the other side of the
Bye.
planet.
And I'm like, okay, well then, can I have another chicken fry?
Okay. So back on Thuja's ship, she overhears you and she looks at you. She's like, "What are you planning?"
We're gonna help her first.
And
then
who
we're
are you
gonna find
who are
my
you
crew.
pointing at?
I'm pointing
The
at
princess.
I'm motioning to the princess was in the room.
Yeah.
Back there. Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. And then we're gonna find my crew.
How do you plan on helping her? She's sick. We don't have a doctor.
I'm going to the smart people.
And she nods. She's like, "Listen, all I know how to do is kill people. So
Same.
same
situation.
Yeah, so she
Me
laughs.
too.
Yeah, she laughs.
How do we save a life? I don't know. We take it somewhere else.
Yeah, she laughs and she's like, "All right, I can't argue with that." So so she turns the ship around and it's still got the cloaking field. So outside, above the swiftly growing blob that is Eugene, we see the ship turn and it's cloaked, but we see like a shimmer, so we know it's there, and it flies off towards them. So I think then the three of you plus Idina and Thuja are like reunited. We don't need a transit scene. We just have you. And her ship has been like brought up into the whale, and all of you are in like I guess a medical bay or something.
Probably in the same med bay as him.
Okay, yeah.
so.
And Idina is sitting on the little hover table, and she looks rough. She looks real bad. Like now that there's proper lighting, you can see she's thin. Her skin is sort of transparent. You can see her veins underneath. She's trying to be tough, but she's very weak. And there's little drones that are like scanning her.
As she, okay, obviously, I think I asked Rex, what's going on with her? Why is she like this?
It was the scepter. It did something to the Mangasi, I think.
So if it's doing this to her, is it doing that to them?
I don't know. It happened to the prince.
Yeah, Quinn immediately looks at Grandpa and is like, now is the time.
And he looks at you and he says the girl is dying. I don't know if we can save her. She's decomposing at the cellular level. All I can do is put her into a form of suspended animation. And the princess like tries to kind of like tough it out, but you can see there's like tears like welling in her eyes, like she's scared.
Yeah, Quinn looks at Rex. I don't know what to do. It's on you. I just want to kill some Mingasi, but this one's on you, dude.
Rex is kind of like next to him. He's like, listen, you go to sleep. We figure out how to save you. And then you wake up and we save you. Right?
And she nods and she says, I've been on the run my whole life, always chased from one system to another, hunted, and then when I found my brother, he died. The only person who's ever been with me this whole time was Thuja, and she looks over at Thuja, and Thuja is like doing this thing where you can see she's just like grinding her teeth so she doesn't cry. She's just like converting her feelings into rage. So she just looks really mad. And Idina like smiles at her like she knows what's going on. And she says, it might be nice to sleep. Rest for a while.
Right?
And she looks at Grandpa and she says, will it hurt? And Grandpa's like, no, dear. And like lying her down, like the bed is reconfiguring itself into like a cryo tube.
Yeah.
Whatever. So she like lies down and it's sort of forming up around her. And Grandpa gives you a look like while everybody else is kind of like occupied with her, gives you a look like, all right, this is like your call to make. You can decide to do this. And yeah, I mean, there's a chance that it's too late already, but this is the best that he can do.
Yeah, I give him a nod, I give him my nod of approval. I mean, we might as well try. If she stays or if she stays awake, she's dead.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. Do it. Okay. So so before the Alexatronian like coma field activates, she looks at you and she says.
Yes.
That's Dave. That's actually Dave.
The two of them are just like holding each other. Like, they're gonna kill us.
Oh my god!
Tiny little ship flies by. So yeah, she looks at you and she says, "I can see why my brother stuck around." And she looks over at Thuja and then you, and she says, "Thuja's right. You're cute when you're trying to be a hero."
You kiss that woman, dude. You give her some sharp tongue.
I mean, he doesn't have any fate points, so if you want this, you could just compel the man.
I compel the Le Freak or whatever it's called. Kiss that woman.
Well, no, we talked about Le Freak being like the opposite of this,
Freak
right?
is
Ah,
not
shit.
true love.
Compellingly heroic. Kiss that woman.
That's what she wants.
Jesse wants
Be
it so
her
bad.
hero.
Now you can. I mean, if you think that that's like totally out of character and you don't want to do it,
No, it's in character.
Shut up, Jesse. No one can force you, right? Like you're still playing Rex. You can make it a different romantic gesture. You can be a different way that you're compellingly heroic, right? It's up to you. I don't want to make you feel like you have to do that. So, if you have an alternative way of coming at that you'd like to suggest to Jesse, you're welcome to. Or you just smooch the shit out of it.
Actually, can I have that back and recompel you?
To do what? No. I have it now. What's going on?
All right. Time out. As we discovered, I'm still going to recompel you, but I want to change it from a kiss. As we discovered, you have genuine feelings for this woman.
Yes.
Like, you love her. I want you to say, I love you, and I want her to say, I know, and then get cryogenically frozen.
No. I mean, how do I get around saying no to this when I have to do it?
So the thing is, you can't reject a compel outright, right? Like, but you're still playing your character, so you can say, okay,
Let me have this Han Solo moment.
not exactly this, but like, what if I did it this way?
All right. What if I like say it as when she's like asleep?
Like he's not brave enough to say it to her face, but as soon as the cryo field goes, he's like,
Like I'm a Darren Outlaw, but this shit's hard.
Oh yeah, that's
fine,
so good.
Fine, if that's the case, then I want her to say to you, I love you.
You're not compelling her. You don't know any of her aspects.
You don't know any of her aspects. You can't compel her.
I can't get her to say I love you to him?
You can't. You should have gotten to know her better.
That's like every NPC on the show.
That's how aspects work. No, but you can
We
compel
know a lot
romance.
of Thuja aspects,
I like
and that's
it.
about it.
Fine. I compel you to... you're going to do it anyway, though.
Well, no, but
What?
you've offered the compel.
No,
He's
I'm
gonna do
not.
the
I'm not
romantic
gonna do it unless you
thing.
compel
So
me.
give him the.
All right.
give him the
I
thing. So this is
compel you
the
to
heroism
when
here.
she... Yeah. To be a giant poussoir. And then when she freezes, you put your hand on it.
Yeah.
And do like a, I love you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
That's what happens.
Okay. So yeah, we see you place the romantic music, and she looks up at you like she's entrusting her fate to you, right? Like that you're gonna protect Sleeping Beauty here while the world goes to shit. And she looks up at you with a trusting look in her eyes, and the field goes over her. Do we hear you say it? Is it quiet enough that only the audience would pick up on it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
It's one of
yeah.
those like close-ups on him kind of situations.
Sure. Yeah. You put your hand on and
love
say it.
you.
And then this would be the part where if you said any louder, Thuja would just lean over and be like, "Gay."
Yeah, that's one of the reasons.
But I think Thuja sees what's going on. Right, you put your hand.
She
and
sees
you
the
say it.
gesture.
And we see her, and this is the moment that she like gives up on you forever, right? Where she's just like, it's some combination of like Rex is not the like tough badass. Like maybe I need someone different.
my
How fucking
God.
dare you? I am
And
a
it's-
tough
no,
man.
No, she realized you're kind of a gentle soul,
Yeah.
and she's not into that.
Yeah, she's letting you go, right? She's like, no, it's not Rex isn't good enough for me. It's I'm the wrong kind of person that Rex needs. And she's like, that's fine. We can just
It's
be
that
we're like
current
comrades in
Rex
arms.
bring out the worst in each other.
Yeah. So she's like, no, Rex can do better than this. I'm gonna just get him killed, and not in like a sex way. So her relationship with you, because of seeing this moment and all the stuff that's led up to it, has shifted now, where she sees you more as like a honored battle companion, and less like she wants to have sex with you on a lava field for 14 hours.
Remember when
It was
that
a one-time
happened?
deal.
Yeah, it's over.
I thought it was 16.
I
but
can't
whatever.
remember. Whatever.
Who was counting?
You gotta
Really?
have 2 hours for like rest in that 16.
Oh my god.
Ice,
Not all at
ice
once.
pack.
Who was counting? Like,
I mean, you were on an
Move to a
apocalypse
different
planet.
flow. All right, so she's in suspended animation. The Alexatronian computer system is going to use what it's learned from her to figure out what the hell is going on. And you, I guess, are going to do what now? You want to go get the scepter?
Well,
No,
I
still
actually
want them
want.
to attack the
Right, yeah. So
Mengasi.
he's still like, yeah, we'll help you with your friend. We'll like take care of that stuff. We can help you, give you information. But like Dave said, they're Switzerland, bro. He's like, yeah, they're just too dangerous. We're not gonna like fight the Mengasi. We have spent millennia not fighting the Mengasi, so we could prepare for the one big sucker punch. And now is not the time to tip our hand, right? If we attack them, they will counterattack and kill us all.
As like they're discussing though, I stopped
We
them.
need
I'm
the
like,
scepter.
I'm like, can you reach out to them? Because they should not be suspecting of the Electrotronians yet, I would think. And I was like, can you talk to the Duke? Can you see what condition he's in? Can you see like visually see him and see, is he in the same state
Quinn,
as
if
this
this
woman?
shit's happening, we won't need to fight him.
Because that's what I'm wondering. If he could just reach out to him and get a visual on him, then he can be like, oh my gosh,
He says,
like he's dying.
he says to you, it's our understanding that a dangerous animal only becomes more dangerous when it's wounded and cornered. If the Duke and his people are suffering from the same degradation that the princess is, they're likely to be more aggressive, more dangerous, less predictable. The model no longer holds. We could find this information out, but it may not make them easier to deal with. It might be harder. They may lash out.
Are we willing to gamble that?
They'll be searching for the scepter as well. It's the only leverage that we have. If we do decide to attack them now, it must be the beginning of the end. The three of you need to retrieve the scepter, and we need to use it for its intended purpose, to destroy the Mengasi once and for all.
And I actually look at Thuja and I'm like, so, do you want to go retrieve the scepter?
I don't know
Like-
if you guys have seen what I've seen, but
Thuja
it is
looks
unretrievable.
Thuja looks at you, and she's like, I want to get that scepter, and I want to fuck every last Mengasi to death with it. It is all I have ever wanted my
And
entire
I
life.
like, my face just goes, what?
It is, yeah, and she's like, it is all I have ever wanted, ever since the moment I was born. It is the greatest desire of my mother and my mother's mother and every huntress before us.
Whoa.
it's all I think
Okay,
about
but
when I
before-
sleep.
Exactly.
It's all I
She's
think
like,
about when I'm awake.
it's all I can think about all the goddamn time.
Let's reel it in a
It's
moment.
why I
though.
am
we gotta,
who I
we gotta
am.
reel it in a moment. We gotta bring it back just a couple steps.
Quinn comes into
And
frame.
she's just like,
Slows him on her face. Yeah. I will drink their blood. I will
Exactly.
bathe in their blood.
I will do all kinds of shit with their blood. I don't care. Like, get me that scepter, and I will show you.
yeah.
No.
Yeah,
so-
go
Quinn,
ahead.
Quinn comes into frame and is like, now you're talking. Yeah, I want to go do this very badly. I don't care if we get eaten by
she
Eugene.
says to you, she says, if you swear to me that once we're done with the Mingasi, that the scepter will be returned to my people so that we can elect a war chief and reform our civilization, I will help you. I will call on every ship. There will be penetration drives activating from here to the shards of Agara. You will have every Agaran warrior here to fight the Mingasi for you. And perhaps, if your robot friends help, maybe, just maybe, we have a chance to beat them.
How can we guarantee that you won't do what the Mangasi do and try to take over several other people?
She looks at you and she shakes her head and she says, the Agarans, it's not an empire. All we want is to kill and die gloriously in battle, and that's it. We don't need much else. We don't need territory. They took our homeworld away from us. You should understand how that feels.
So I don't need to hold the scepter. Just give it to you, and your people take care of it.
She shakes her head. No, the scepter is ceremonial to my people. If you want to use it to do whatever the hell you did earlier, that's on you. Its use as a weapon is yours.
I look at Dave and I'm like, I need you, man. I
Yeah.
need you for this, man.
Dave looks at you and he looks around at everybody. And
And everybody
like,
looks at Dave.
Yeah, and
It's
he's
like his moment.
Yeah, he looks right in the camera and he's like, "Let's fucking do it."
As he puts a White Castle in
And
his
then
mouth.
it's
Yeah, totally.
Star
Exactly.
wipes out.
Let's fucking do it, and then we fade to black on heroic music. All right, let's take our very last break, and then let's take this spaceship home. So we've got 1 more hour of Roleplay Live Nebula Jazz coming at you. Stick around for the stunning conclusion. Don't go anywhere. Pow pow.